So the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's the stupidest combination I've heard in my life. That's the kind of thing Lou Diamond would have on his luggage.
Want to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Master the Art of Connecting and professional speaker Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on the planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. The last one to know, the last one to show, I was the last one you thought you'd see there.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have a messaging and funnel specialist working with business owners and solopreneurs to create messaging and processes that inspire loyalty, momentum, and action that leverages trust, authenticity, and profitability. She's a lot of fun, and we've got her here. It's Breanna Gunn on Thrive Loud. She goes by Brea. I will be saying that all day long because Brea is just way too cool.
It's a lot of fun to say, isn't it?
Yes. So excited to have you on the program here today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay. So I want to kind of do this little like rewind, but not all the way to the womb type of a thing. Okay. I want to go back and understand how this line of work that you do became your gig.
By accident. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. I swear I can say words. I type them better than I say them, y'all. But my dad he maintained all the logging roads for Agnew and Weyerhaeuser tree farms.
Oh, wow.
And so I actually, fun aside, I got to learn how to drive in a Mack truck. And so I grew up doing his books to learn math and going out to the work site. And I remember vividly at about 7 or 8 years old, I was at the grocery store and I realized that the cashiers did not own the grocery store. And I was devastated because I was so used to the fact that, my dad could pick his hours and he could be there for us kids and he could do all the things. And he showed up at all of our soccer matches and our cheerleading tryouts and everything like that. And my heart broke. And so when I grew up, I went to school for pre-law because I wanted to put the bad guys away. I've always been fascinated. I grew up in Washington State, which is like murder capital USA. My aunt dated Ted Bundy, like legitimately. And so I've always been fascinated by like why bad people do bad things. And
this is, by the way, I'm just putting notes on my listeners need to know I've put down notes, other podcast programs we need to have Brea get on all these stories, but continue.
So when I went to work for a law firm, I realized as I was taking my LSATs and everything that I did not want to do law. Mm-hmm. I did not want to be a lawyer. They didn't do what I thought they did. I thought lawyers were like Perry Mason, and they're not. And nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't who I wanted to be. I wanted to go out and do the digging and find the stuff.
Right.
And I ended up pregnant with my first kid with my husband and planned and everything. But I realized that I didn't want to work a 9-to-5 where I couldn't be there for my kid. Right. And so I called my mom in tears. I didn't know what I was going to do. And she sent me to this site called Hire My Mom. And I was like, it's totally a scam, not a real thing. It's a real thing and it works. And I found my first gig and it was checking email. Huh. And there was a really pissed off guy who was just verbally abusive. I mean, to the point where like my hackles got up. And I drafted a response and put it in the save folder, the drafts folder, and mentioned to my client, hey, by the way, I didn't send it, but I just have had enough of him being abusive towards you. And so I kind of inserted myself in the conversation. I signed it as myself, as her assistant. She read it and she's like, oh my gosh, would you write other things for us? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I have a blog. And she's like, what do you mean you have a blog? And I was like, well, I love to write. And she's like, oh my gosh. So I started writing their blogs and their emails and responding to email. And then they wanted to launch a campaign to help attract other wedding vendors into their course, which at the time, this is 12 years ago, that kind of thing didn't really exist. And so I got to be on the front lines of marketing a course before that was the thing everybody did. And I fell in love with it.
So this is awesome. First of all, I love you're the save the world type of person and want to put the bad guys away. But you've channeled that into one of your skills, which is messaging. And for the record, I think people have to understand how important messaging is. I wanted you to do this for us, Brea, as it relates to exactly this, helping people with their messaging. How important is it to get the right message out?
It's literally the difference between your business succeeding and failing. You're getting the right message to the right people makes all the difference. I always say, fake people have fake money, because everyone tells you to create this avatar, right? You give them a name and you dress them up and you give them, that's fine and dandy. That's great. But it doesn't do you a bit of good if that person doesn't exist in the real world. And so what I encourage my clients to do is to go out and do actual market research, talk to the people you want to sell to, talk to the people you want to work with, and find out what their actual pain points are, find out what they're struggling with, because that's fodder for your message. Your messaging shouldn't be about you. It needs to be about them and the problem that you solve for them and the pain that you put out, the fire you put out. And when your messaging is off, you're going to find yourself on discovery calls, having with people who aren't good fits. They have no budget. They have all these excuses. Or if you're a course person and you're selling courses and content, you're going to find lots of refund requests and people who aren't happy with the product because your messaging is off. It's the targeting is not working. And so, while avatars are great, I don't think you shouldn't create an avatar. I think you should create one after you talk to human beings.
So let's go. We skipped the needle on here and we jumped the track. And that was from that. No apologies. This is awesome. You worked for this one particular client and then that spawned others and other people. And this became your thing.
Yeah, I went from there and I realized if I wanted to make more than $10 an hour, I had to go out and find, someone else. I actually ended up pricing myself out of that client. I remember it was Christmas Eve and I got a deposit for like $3,500, which was a lot of money because I was only making, I think, $15 an hour from them at the time. And it was severance. And so I saw the deposit and then I got the email. And I was like, I love them. To this day, I'm still in touch with both of them. Like, they're fantastic people. But they were like, we love you, but we can't afford to pay you what you deserve. And it's not that we don't need you, we do, but we're pivoting the business to go in a different direction and that kind of a thing. And so I, thank goodness I had wanted to scale and have additional clients because I'd already onboarded 2 new clients at $35 and $50 an hour. I don't do hourly anymore, but I that whole moment where you're like, if I keep working for $15 an hour, I'm actually losing money.
Yeah.
That realization hits you hard. And so I worked with everyone from course creators and coaches and consultants to doctors and lawyers and dentists and nonprofits and massage places. And, it's so much fun to come in and hear, like, my favorite part of my job, of my business, is listening to my clients talk about their people.
Yeah.
Because they get so fired up. So
this is interesting. From that time that you were absolutely, let's just say, devastated that you learned that the people who were running the cashiers at the grocery store didn't own the place.
Yeah.
Your spirit for the entrepreneur continues. And it seems that it's all about connecting people for you, right? Getting their message to connect. I'm looking at one of the things in your marketing site, and you hit this, and please address this as you see fit. Friends buy from friends.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. So let's say you get a new pair of shoes and you go out to lunch with your friends and like, oh my God, I love your shoes. The first thing they ask, where did you get them? It's simple psychology. People trust their friends. Therefore, they buy from the things their friends recommend.
Right.
So friends buy from friends, right? And I'm not the only person that says this. There's a lot of other copywriters out there who will tell you the same thing in the same words or very similar words. But the idea being that when you create quality content, not sales messages, but actual content that is helpful and insightful and resourceful, the people that read it begin to trust you because you're giving them things they can implement in their business right away. Mm-hmm. And then they'll come when they're looking to buy something in your sector, whatever that is, they're going to look to you first. Do you have something they can purchase? And if not, who do you recommend that they purchase from?
Okay, Brea. So here's where it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We are bombarded with content all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Emails, social media pings, all this different stuff. And for the record, we know what bad communication and messaging looks like. And then somehow we have to rise above and sift through that to connect to people, even if we have the best messaging that's out there. Mm-hmm. As a funneling expert here, mm-hmm. how can we get this friendly message to real people to make real money really work most effectively today? Because it is a challenge.
Don't be the person that does the RE subject line. Number one.
Yes.
That is shady as all get out. Don't do it unless you're actually responding to an email. The second thing is some people call it the 9-word email. Some people call it 13-word email. Ask people what they think. Use that to your advantage. Even if you only get 2 responses, that's 2 people you haven't talked to before, and get them on the phone and talk to them on Zoom or on the phone. Get as much feedback from the people that are willing to talk to you as possible. And then the last piece of advice I always give people is expect some kind of attrition with your list. Expect that attrition, because that's people removing themselves from your universe who are no longer a fit for you. And that's okay, because they're making room for the people that are. You don't want someone who's pissed off and angry and, vile or whatever, commenting on your posts about how awful they are, right? You want cheerleaders, you want, because we know algorithms and everything else, that the more comments and likes we get, the more visibility we have. And sometimes you just get plumb lucky. I had a client who had a mini viral yesterday on Instagram. She called me flipping out. She hit the trifecta. She's a Black businesswoman. It's Black History Month. She was at an entrepreneurs expo, and she went and shopped from 5-10 different Black women. And so she did a reel of her actually shopping with these Black women, and it went mini viral for her.
Amazing.
But she hit the trifecta. And so the other piece of that, what that teaches us is you can't prepare for that. You can't expect that. Like, I've gone viral on TikTok, not for anything business related, because I was laughing at a guy who was doing a bit. And apparently my laugh is contagious. So,
I think I've seen this one, by the way. We're going to have to talk about it.
2.5 million views.
Oh my God. I had no idea that was you. Well, time out. I had no idea that was you. By the way, that laugh is very unique. See,
Thank you.
We're going to put, by the way, listeners, that'll be in the show notes, the link specifically to that video thing.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you can't, would I have liked one of my business tips to go viral? Absolutely. But getting there is a challenge. And so the biggest thing about getting your messaging out there is to not give up. Mm-hmm. It can be really, really devastating to see open rates that are low, or to think that your open rates are low. Do some research. Most, like, industry average open rate is about 10%. Yeah. If you're over that, you're golden. You're doing really well. Be more worried about your click-through rate. That's something you can control, and make sure their click-through rate is the number of people that open your email and then actually click the link or hit reply. And so for me, that movement matters. I don't care if you have a 2% open rate. If you've got a 30% click-through rate, who cares about the 2% open rate? You're getting 30% of the people that open it to do something. That's huge. Yeah. So, be careful with the metrics you're paying attention to. On Instagram, okay, you're not getting a ton of likes, but you have huge reach. celebrate that. Your reach is far more important than the number of likes you're getting.
I like it.
Just pay attention to metrics in a way that doesn't burn you out, doesn't stress you out, and be consistent in your messaging. If you only have the bandwidth to show up once a week on social media on one platform, show up once a week on social media on one platform. You don't have to be everywhere. But don't be the person that sporadically posts and expects magic to happen. Don't be the person that doesn't email for 6 months and then's like, buy my stuff. That doesn't work. And you're gonna piss people off.
I want to talk about consistent messaging because you hit about this. One of the things, this goes way back to, I want to say almost 20 years, when JetBlue, the airline, came on the scene.
Yep.
One of the things that made them stand out was they had a unique voice and tone, almost with a little tongue-in-cheek in everything that they communicated. And it actually became part of their brand and messaging, so much so that everybody has expected that to carry throughout all their communications.
Yeah. Southwest was the same thing.
Exactly, with their hearts and their love and everything.
And do you remember Virgin Airlines and their message? Yeah. That uniqueness draws in the right people. Messaging should repel as much as it attracts. So
copywriting, as you have done, in helping to find not only the right messaging, but also to get the right voice and tone in the way that this communicates, what do you do to kind of dig in a little bit?
Copy brief. And
okay, let's hear. Yeah.
So if you hire a copywriter, they need to have some kind of onboarding process where they interview you in a way. I used to do it on Zoom, and I would record the call and I'd watch it back and play it back over and over and over again. And that was very inefficient. And so I took all the questions I was asking, like I was basically peppering my clients with questions, which I'm a strong personality. So it can be a little exhausting to be on a call with me for an hour and a half while all I do is like pepper you with questions. You feel like you're being interrogated. And I didn't want my clients to feel that way. I do my best to not make them feel that way, but you can't help it sometimes. And so I created something I call a copy brief. I'm not unique in that respect. But basically it's a form that they get to fill out on their own time. I give them a deadline for it. And it asks all of the questions like, who are your people? What is their pain? What words do they use? What words do you use? What words don't you use? Because I can drop an F-bomb with the best of them, but if you never, ever, ever swear, then we don't want that in your copy. What are your parameters for your expectations for this project? How long do you want your content? I've had clients, my rate, I charge flat rates now. I've had clients who 150 word emails were almost too long for their audience. Yeah. I have other clients where 1,000 word emails are not enough. So setting those expectations and getting the perspective of the client. And then we do an onboarding call where I can clarify anything that's not clear. And that has drastically reduced my turnaround time. I used to have a turnaround time of almost 30 days for like a single funnel. And now we're down to like 14 to 21 days.
Wow.
Because I can just go back to that form and read their responses. And the interesting thing, at least to me, is that because you're answering and you're not thinking about it, I get a lot of your vibe and your voice by the way you respond to the question. And so that helps me capture and translate that into the content that I create.
So you not only help, and you are a doer and a consultant and helping to do the writing, you speak about it. Mm-hmm. And I love asking speakers this question because this is an interesting one here. Do you find that what people want to hear from you is more of what to do or what not to do?
It really depends. It depends on the audience. The most recent speaking engagement that I had was they wanted to know what to do and what not to do. So it was more of a workshop situation, which is I love to do, where we can sit down and here, download this workbook and let's go through it together kind of thing. Because the thing I hate the most outside of my ex-husband is
sorry.
It's all good, is when you go to a conference and it's a pitch fest and you leave and you're like, I got nothing out of that other than buy my stuff over and over. And so I make it a point when I speak to leave them with actionable steps tips, tricks, tools that they can literally take back with them. So it's not just the big me show. It's about them and how they resonate. So most of the time it's about what to do, because I find that the word funnels is like a forbidden, it's another F word. People are scared of it. You hear the word funnels and you think ClickFunnels and you think tech and you start to have a panic attack.
Yeah.
All a funnel is, you guys, is a client journey. It is literally how your person gets from point A to point B to point C to the sale. And it can be multiple pieces, it can be multiple parts, but the overarching concept is to take your person that you just met and turn them into a client. And in order to do that, you need to build relationship and do it strategically so that they feel like you're their friend, like you're the person they could call and go out for a cup of coffee with. About once a month, I invite my list to book a call with me at no charge. Just come hang out with me. If you have questions about marketing, I'm happy to answer them for 30 minutes individually so that you get one-on-one eyes on your business. I book more clients out of that. And it's to the point where they literally ask me to sell them.
Mm. Brea, I love asking entrepreneurs this question and most of the guests on the show, and listeners need to know she is a dedicated listener. I want to say that not like over the many years, but literally like it's possible that this program might be playing in the background of her room.
I work from home and I'm by myself most of the day. So I pick different podcasts to listen to. So I feel like I have someone here with me.
So we've been here with her the entire time. But what I love asking guests is, you have managed to create a lifelong passion of helping those in need and basically trying to put away the bad guys, if you would, and help people do the right thing into your business, which is awesome. And you're doing what you love and you're a great writer. So you thrive on most days.
I do.
However, we all have days when we're not quite kicking on all cylinders. That
was yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out what that is. But on those days when you're not thriving, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
What I do is I make a list of three things I have to get done. And if I get them done and I still feel like working, I can continue. But if I get them done, the world's not going to collapse. Some days it's like clean the litter box, get the laundry done, and get this to a client. Some days it's all client work. But if I can do those three things, usually by the end of it, I'm good. And if I'm not, then I have a really good friend. She's like my business bestie named Ashley that I will text and I will be like, can you just meme me? And she will literally.
Wait, can you just meme, M-E-M-E?
Yep. And she'll literally blow up my phone with funny memes until I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. And even if I don't feel like going back to work, at least my spirits are lifted. And, everybody has bad days. I have two boys and, my youngest came home from school and he forgot his glasses and he was kicking himself and all upset and it ruined his day. And his teacher gives us a report every day of how he does behavior wise. He had a really good day, but that one thing ruined his afternoon until I said, well, you don't really need them all the time. It's okay if you don't have them, but I think it'd be smart if you brought them home tomorrow. And the look on his face, like he could have a do-over, was so awesome. And that's the other piece, is on those days that are hard, on those days where you don't want to get out of bed or don't want to work, you can always try tomorrow.
Like that. Brea, I just have a follow-up question to that. And that is, did your friend Ashley, to make you laugh, send you the TikTok that went viral to make you laugh of you laughing of yourself?
She sends me pictures. So I'm obsessed with these slippers that are like $300. And so I know, but they're so comfortable and I love them and I cannot live without them. And so she's helped me on quite a few projects. So I sent them to her as a thank you gift, and her husband had a heart attack when he saw them because I just sent them. I didn't send them as a gift to gift wrap or whatever.
Do these slippers massage your feet all night long? Like, what do they do?
I live in Michigan. It is freezing here right now and I'm in my basement. And so they keep my feet warmer than I've tried wool. I've tried everything. And these actually keep my feet warm, but they don't interfere with my natural. I stand a lot when I work and I usually stand barefoot, but standing barefoot on concrete because I just have like the
thin basement layer of carpet. Yeah. I'm all too familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they allow me to have that natural feel with my feet. So I can stand appropriate. Like, I just love them. And could I probably find them cheaper? Yes, but I haven't yet. And they were a birthday present to myself. So I excused the cost. But I got her a pair, and she sent me a picture of her son on the couch holding her iPhone with her slippers on. And she was like, it's bougie AF. And that kind of stuff just kills me. Because So
hold on a second. We're gonna take advantage of this right now. Yeah. We're gonna use the power of connecting and messaging and podcasting right now before we go to Fun Street here and do the plugs and all that stuff. What is the brand of this particular slipper? Who's the
Kane.
Okay, say it again.
Jenny Kane.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna reach out to Jenny Kane, and we're gonna talk about how amazing these slippers are, and we're gonna try and get an executive at Jenny Kane on Thrive Loud. And we're going to get them on the show to talk about how amazing these slippers are. And maybe we're going to end up getting another pair of these slippers.
They're fantastic. Yeah, I tag them on social media and stuff all the time because they're bougie, but they're fantastic. It's one of those things, my husband's always like, is that a Gucci sweater? I'm like, do you think it is?
So let's do this. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you, websites, URLs, links. You will have a chance.
You guys, I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere.
I can't help it. You can find me at the Breanna Gunn on social media. I'm Breanna Gunn on LinkedIn. You can find me at www.breannagunn.com. 2 N's in Breanna, 2 N's in Gunn. And you can also find me speaking at events. And the one thing I do want to plug is I have a magazine where I feature awesome entrepreneurs, and they, like, in order to be in the magazine, they have to give actionable tips, tricks, solutions. It's called Copyright. You can go to breannagunn.com/magazine to grab your copy. It's completely free. And the second issue is coming out this week. And that's everything.
Brea, are you ready to go down Fun Street here on Thrive Loud?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so interested to see where this goes because I've been building up some material before this episode began, listeners, on where I'm going to take Fun Street. But we're going to start it off with our standard bit. Can you share with the listeners one of your all-time favorite movies or a movie that connects with you specifically?
I currently am absolutely loving Ready Player One.
Oh, that is awesome. So let's go there. Do you think we're getting there? Do you think that's like the metaverse is this, right?
Not. I really hope. I love the movie because I love every time I watch it, I see something I didn't see before. Mm-hmm. It's one of those, there's so many Easter eggs and hints and characters, and it's just fun. And I can watch it when my kids are in the room. That's important because I've been on a Ray Donovan kick, and watching one episode at a time is killing me. But I think, unfortunately, I think that we are so plugged in that it's going to be really hard for people, especially like the next generation, to unplug. You and I are probably close to the same age. We didn't grow up with tech. We got tech when we were, preteens, teenagers, young adults. And so for us, unplugging is like going camping, and it's not a big deal if our cell phone doesn't work. For someone like my son, the world is ending if his cell phone doesn't work. And so I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to see.
Just a note, my tween and teenage years were in the 80s, and I watched Ready Player One many times, and I've watched one of them with one of my kids, and there were so many things that I picked up references from the 80s of the characters that they would never have known about. And that was one of the geniuses about it, because they were obviously picking on that time zone. So it was pretty cool, which I think was a lot of fun. It is an amazing movie though. I also think it's a great.
Well, and I think it appeals to the younger generation where they're super hyper plugged in and like, that's their dream world. And it also appeals to us because we're like, that's our childhood.
Yeah. It's crazy. Okay. Yeah. We're going to do the speed round here on Fun Street.
Okay.
Right. Here's how it goes. I'm going to ask you something. I want the first thing that comes to your mind. These are things that motivate you, lift you up, make you feel good. They basically make you thrive. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Of late, a song that you love to listen to or one that pumps you up.
I'm really loving Friends in Low Places by Garth Brooks. It's what I listen to all the time.
It's a classic. I love that.
I adore him, and it just plays on repeat.
It's in the top 5 of great bar songs, like songs to sing at bars or like, at open mic places. Totally. So, favorite food that's not a dessert?
I am obsessed with Cask and Company's pad thai.
Interesting. Oh my God. We're going to have to give them a tag and a shout out, producers. Know what's going on for that, whatever that is. Favorite dessert?
Cheesecake.
Any type of cheesecake? Are you like an old, like New York style or Italian cheesecake?
I am a surprise me with your flavors kind of cheesecake girl. As long as it tastes like cheesecake at some point, I'm good. I don't want a cheesecake that tastes like red velvet cake. I don't want a cheesecake that feels like a souffle. I want a cheesecake, but you can make it whatever flavor you want.
Were you okay in December of 2021 when there was legitimately a cheesecake or cream cheese shortage? Did you know about this?
I did. And it's so funny because I stockpile cream cheese because my son is obsessed. Like every morning he has a bagel and cream cheese. And so I buy cream cheese in bulk from like Costco and stuff. So we were okay. But I do make homemade cheesecakes occasionally. And my birthday is in January. And so I was panicking because that's what I wanted. And I know, yes, I make my own freaking birthday cake. Get over it.
Hey, it's your birthday.
I'm an adult. Like I make what I want and eat what I want. But yeah, it was more my son having a panic attack about having to have butter and jam.
I totally understand that. Okay. An activity you wish you did more of?
Roller derby.
Stop right there. You actually do roller derby?
I used to. I haven't in a long. I broke my leg, and every time I get back on skates, it's a little terrifying, but I miss it a lot.
Again, listeners, we have so many other podcast programs to get Brea on these days. An activity you wish you did less of?
Spending time on social media.
If I could snap my fingers and you can be anywhere in the world, where are you?
Oh, Disney World.
Listeners need to understand something that I'm looking at right now. I'm actually communicating virtually with Brea, and Brea is in her office, and literally papered over the wall are Minnie Mouse ears. They're like the barrette Minnie Mouse ears that you would put over your head. Can we discuss this? Have you talked openly about your love, passion,
I do.
Arguably obsession with Disney?
Oh, I'm totally obsessed, and I have no problem saying that. It's my happy place. I can go and be a kid, and when I'm not with my kids, because I go without my children. When I go without my kids, I can there's this child throwing a fit, and I can, Mom, you're doing a great job, and just keep going. And it's a little therapeutic in that respect, because you can just I don't have to deal with that. It's fine. And, there's something really, for me, that recharges me, and that, I go and I'm able to kind of breathe easier. Things are taken care of. Yeah, there's long lines, but like the lines are themed and cues or, whatever. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
To make this a bonus component, when you're at Disney World, what is your favorite ride, activity, location to be when you're there?
Epcot is my favorite park. And I'm typically just wandering around the world. I love seeing all the different countries and going and doing the things and watching the videos. And when they had cast members I think they're probably coming back, who were from from France or I loved meeting them. Their perspective on life is very, very different. I've gotten some great podcast recommendations from cast members who were, hey, it's a UK podcast, but you're going to love it. Or, hey, what do you like? Cause I'll walk around with earbuds in and listen to a podcast if I'm by myself while I'm there. And they always are like, what are you listening to? And, it starts a conversation.
Brea Gunn, truly a pleasure to have you on Thrive Loud today. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Keep saving the world and putting away the bad guys one day at a time, however you do it through your messaging.
I will. Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
'Cause I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. And I'll be okay.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.